Sometimes it doesn't happen when life feels overwhelming or loud. It happens in the opposite moments, when everything finally slows down and there is nothing demanding your attention anymore. That is often when the mind begins to move the most. There are no notifications, no conversations, no expectations to respond. On the surface, it feels like peace, but inside, thoughts begin to line up one after another, quietly but persistently, without asking for permission. You might be sitting alone, doing nothing in particular, when your mind starts replaying conversations from the past. It might imagine future situations that have not happened yet, or question decisions that felt settled earlier in the day. Nothing is urgent, but your thoughts refuse to rest. If this feels familiar, it does not mean something is wrong with you. Overthinking in silence is not always a sign of anxiety or weakness, and it is rarely random. For some people, quiet removes distraction. When the noise fades, the mind finally has enough space to bring unfinished thoughts back into focus, especially the ones that were postponed during busy moments. This tends to happen more often to people who process life internally. You notice patterns, read between lines, and reflect deeply on experiences instead of moving past them quickly. When external input disappears, your attention naturally turns inward. Busy environments keep the mind occupied. Silence, on the other hand, creates room for reflection, and reflection often leads to questions that were never fully answered. You may notice this most clearly at night, when the day is over and there is nothing left to do. Or during moments that are supposed to feel calming, like sitting alone in a quiet room or walking through familiar streets. The world slows down, but your thoughts seem to speed up. This does not mean you do not know how to relax. It often means your mind learned to stay active for a reason. For many people, thinking became a way to stay prepared. Anticipating outcomes, analyzing situations, and mentally rehearsing responses once helped you feel safe, understood, or in control. Over time, the habit did not disappear just because life became quieter. Even when nothing is happening, the mind continues to scan, reflect, and evaluate. Silence simply removes the distractions that usually keep that process in the background. Overthinking in quiet moments is often connected to sensitivity and awareness. You do not just experience events, you process how they feel, what they mean, and how they fit into a larger pattern. When there is space, those reflections surface naturally. This is also why trying to force your mind to stop thinking rarely works. The thoughts that appear are not random interruptions, they are signals asking to be acknowledged. Many of them are not about the future, but about emotions that never had enough room before. Feelings that were postponed, questions that were pushed aside, or moments that were never fully processed at the time they happened. Silence does not create these thoughts. It reveals what was already there, waiting beneath the surface. The mistake many people make is believing every thought needs to be solved immediately. Some thoughts are not instructions or warnings, they are echoes of experiences that simply want to be noticed. Learning to sit with quiet means learning to observe your mind without judgment. Instead of fighting the thoughts, you allow them to pass without demanding answers right away. Over time, something subtle begins to change. The thoughts slow down, not because you forced them to stop, but because they no longer need to compete for attention. Quiet becomes less uncomfortable when it is no longer treated as a problem. It becomes a space where you understand yourself more clearly, without pressure to fix or explain everything. If you tend to overthink when everything is quiet, it does not mean you are broken or behind in life. It often means you are someone who feels deeply, reflects carefully, and notices what others overlook. The mind speaks most clearly when the world is silent. And sometimes, listening without reacting is enough. If this reflection felt familiar, inner quiet is a place where moments like this are explored slowly, without noise or urgency. You can stay here if you want, and continue listening in your own time. This is Inner Quiet.